Hey, so as the name suggests, today I want to show you how you can use AI to create a AI caller for both inbound and outbound calls. You can use this for cold calls. You can use this to answer customer questions. You can do this to book appointments, just about anything. So I'll show you a quick demo now.
Hey, this is Max from Charleston Real Estate. Am I catching you at a good time?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Great. I'm reaching out to offer free property appraisals in the Hawthorne area. Our qualified agents will be in the neighbourhood this weekend. Would you be interested in scheduling a free appraisal for your property?
That could be good. When do you have available on Saturday?
Perfect. Could you let me know if you're a property owner or renting?
Yeah,
That way I can find the best available. Awesome. Let's get you set up for that appraisal. What times work best for you this weekend?
Let's say, do you have anything like 2 p.m.?
Let me check for available times around 2 p.m. this weekend.
So you get the idea. Obviously quite responsive, quite quick. So let me show you exactly how I build that now. We use a software called VAPI. Now VAPI lets you build out these assistants in quite a modular fashion. So the way that this voice AI is working is actually a combination of multiple applications working in harmony together, which is obviously pretty cool. It really shows the level of innovation happening right now on the scene. So we have a combination of an AI model. We also have things like text to voice and voice to text, which obviously handles basically what the model generates, converting it back to text and vice versa. So all these things work together to obviously create that experience that I just showed you. And VAPI lets you put all those things together really, really simply in one single interface. So I won't show you how to set up an account, but it is pretty straightforward. And once you do that, you can go into your assistants here and create a new assistant. Now, there's a few things you do need to do to set it up in the way that I showed you today. You do firstly need to create a prompt, and you can use AI to help you do that. The key with this is that you obviously provide main things like an identity, a purpose, and show you and obviously explain the conversation flow as well. But the actual most essential thing is that you specify the tools that the assistant can use. Now, we did use one tool in that demo that I just showed you, and that was the get available times tool. And later on in that flow, you would also use the book appointment tool. And that's what the assistant uses to check available times in my calendar. And then it would actually use another tool to book an appointment as well. So these are things that you do need to set up manually. Obviously the AI can't just suddenly figure out your calendar. And that's where make.com comes in. I have spoken about Make in a few of my previous videos, so I suggest you start there if you haven't used it before. But if you have, great. I can show you exactly how I set up the get availability flow, which will allow your VAPI assistant to check your calendar. So let me show you that now. It starts with a webhook. So like a lot of these Make scenarios, they start with a hook that allows information to come in. And you can actually specify your tools in this section here. So you can see that we have get availability, and this is just set up with some details about how the tool should work, and also the property names and the actual properties that we actually need to provide as well. So you can see here the server URL. This was actually the one that we should be using, not get availability. And you can see that times is set as a property here. So we don't actually need to provide too much information. It just says the ideal day or time the booking was provided by the lead. And we're going to use this tool to get available times in the calendar. Once you set up that and you provide the hook URL here, it will send to that server URL when the assistant wants to call a tool. And that's when you can set it up to do just about anything. But in this case, like I said, we're looking to check a calendar. So the first thing we're doing is we need to find the current time zone and figure out the time, because the system won't necessarily know that straight away. So we're using a time API to get the Melbourne time zone. And we are first using a prompt to figure out the actual times that we want to check the calendar for. So for example, in that demo, I said, this weekend, but an example might be like tomorrow after work or next week sometime, or, obviously it's going to be provided in natural language, and the tool will also provide that in natural language as well. So we need to first convert that into an actual time zone or a time stamp. And that's obviously why the time zone is important as well. So first we're setting that as like a prompt that we will use, and I will provide this prompt so you can use it as well. And we're also figuring out basically the dates that should be provided. And I've said also add a few days after, because when you're booking an appointment, maybe that day doesn't work, so you also want to check a few other days just to be sure. Okay, so this is where you're actually hitting the AI and we're pasting in that content to determine the correct date. And it actually gives us back, like I said, just those date stamps, and that's what we actually need. Next, we're using CALLER.com. The reason we're using it is because it's very easy to basically figure out your events. So you just need to make an account on CALLER.com and get the API key, which is pretty simple to do. You should be able to figure that out with a Google search. And we have a start time and an end time. Okay, so these are variables that we need to set, and these are the start and end times that we figured out using our AI call. Again, I'll provide this whole scenario as a JSON file that you can import to use yourself. The only thing you will need to do is switch out the API key. Once we get a response, what it comes back with is a whole bunch of times that are available, and we only obviously want a few. So we actually need to do another AI call, and this is where we're going to figure out the actual times that we want to provide. So we're giving all those times, and we're giving the day of the week, and it's going to be provided, like 3 options, essentially, just like an actual assistant would. And when it comes back, it just provides it as a webhook response. It's very important that it's provided in this way, and it will provide that result just like that. And I can show you exactly how that happened. We can go into logs here, and this is a great way to check how things happened. You can go in and see the full logs of all your calls, and this is obviously really, really useful. If you go over to the messages, you can scroll down and actually see how the tool calls happened. And you can see that the response here came back with get available times, Saturday, October 28th at 2 p.m, for example. So this is just it calling. It would actually show that response as well of the get available times. So have a go with this. As I said, VAPI is very, very powerful. I've experimented a lot with both inbound and outbound, and it's good for both. You'll notice also that it had my voice. You can do that on a few software platforms, and there are lots of different providers available. The one that I'm using is Cartesia, which is a paid platform as well. So you can make an account on there, and you can do something called clone your own voice, which takes about 15 seconds, and then you have something that sounds almost identical to you as you saw yourself. So have a go with this, and let me know if you have any questions. Cheers.